to BSLIVE. Let's continue with our plasticity explorations. Today I want to be looking at the shape tools that's available in plasticity. We got the circle, we got this regular polygon and corner rectangle. There's actually a lot of more functions that's hidden. For example, there's also center rectangle, that there's a rectangular array, all sort of things. But let's take a look at circle. For example, if you just draw a circle, and yeah, you get the circle shapes. Right click, you complete it, and you get this curve that's kind of close. It's kind of like a sheet of objects. Let's draw a couple more. That's a regular polygon. Draw another circle and corner rectangle. You might notice something interesting, that's they're overlapping, and whenever your mouse hover around it, it's getting this highlight, and that's kind of important. It's a very cool feature actually that I found in another app called Shaper 3D, but it's also in Plasticity. And I wish there's a quick way to just make a duplicate of circle, make it smaller, like an array. I think you can perhaps do it using one of these, but anyway. So with this shape selected, you can actually extrude them up. So this is like the default behavior. So extrude up, right click, extrude, right click. Let's try a couple more. Extrude. You can actually, I think you can skew the area. Maybe even scale it a little bit. Oops. Yeah, if it's too much, it's gonna be exploding. So this you need to experiment with it. You can actually quickly create like a skateboard kind of park using this method. Could be also like a level in the game. It's pretty random, but imagine your character jumping around this area. Okay, let's save this very quickly. Random park, and now it's all highlighted and we get all this weirdness. Let's turn off the X-ray mode so it's simplified. You can start doing the beveling if you want to. You might also notice that even though they are touching, each one of them is still like a separate solid objects. And in order for you to be able to boolean them together, you need to extend some areas, like the face areas. If they are touching like this and you want to blend the two, you want to join them using Q. So I just tapping Q, boolean union. So they're touching, so we can combine them together. Now that they are combined, you can actually create like a smooth blend between the two. Originally, yeah, you cannot do this. You cannot make this until you create a boolean. Okay, so that's for the skateboard or the slides. Okay. Yeah, I really like these features. Let's try a few other things we can do here. You see, the easiest one, because this shape is kind of cool, right? We want to keep it. Tap O. We can have this inner extrusions. Right click, and then you can push it down. Okay, you can see the floor again now. any corner shapes we can actually extend. There's a limit to that sometimes, but I kind of like it. This just offset the face whenever you like. For this one, maybe O and then O and then inner extrusion again. And maybe you want to make a cut through these objects. You will probably want to hide the curved objects, so that when you're working with solid, you don't want to see the curve anymore. Let's see, this guy might need to be joined together in order for this to make a little bit more sense. 1, 2, 3, Q, and now we have a single parasolid object. Now you can start to do the fillet rounding. If you want to make a hole, for example, this is like 2 objects. Let me try. Could be like a small garden, right? But you need to make a cut through these objects. I guess the easiest one is to use maybe corner box, and make a cut. It's a yeah, I think that could work, right? Yes. Okay, it's probably not the best cut. It's pretty good, but anyway, it's like a concept. So I'll extend that area. This one, maybe join this together, Q and Q. Sometimes it's refusing, maybe it's too complicated. Yeah, like these two probably not joined together properly. It's not like in Blender when you have a lot of 3D objects and they're touching each other, and you just sometimes you can just boolean them together. With Shaper 3D, they're like a special parasolid objects. I think you cannot just merge them together even if they're like touching like this. However, I still quite like the fact that we can select like a face like this, and then once, for example, this this face. Now we are in this area. If I draw like a circle, or let's try circle, draw on this face, right click. So suddenly we have this cutter. And once we are done, we just hide the curve and we have this shape. Interesting variations of these parasolid objects, and we can make a cut like that, and oh, look, I can even go through these objects. So like this, if I'm not wrong, if I hold hold options or control. I cannot. I want to select the boundary. That is weird cut. Let's say I like this part. I want to make a cut using corner rectangle cut. You can also use boolean, however. This cutter can hide this. Suddenly we have these new areas that we can push. Yeah, so it's like a skateboard playground kind of thing. Could be like a maze. Corner box cut, push it in, right click, okay. Maybe you want to do like a parkour around this park, so you gotta take a look. Okay, maybe we need more ways to go around these areas. This one is probably like a trap, like a guy. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not an architect or something, but yeah, I quite like the idea of being able to just quickly make a cut using shapes. If it's in Blender, the equivalent of that shape kind of thing, it's using grease pencil. If you create a blank grease pencil and draw, I think I showed this before. So we are, for example, drawing shapes. Top view and draw a box. Middle click, another box, middle click, circle, big circle. So with grease pencil, it's kind of limited. Oh, except that remember you can also draw over it, make a random shape. Try to close it. Close the path, and then because they are overlapping, you can now do the fill. And let's try doing it from the top view using new material. Let's try bright color, just do a fill. You need to tap it twice because the first one seems to be okay. You can extend, so yeah, extend the area, but normally I believe you need to click twice. Oh yeah, don't fly around the camera, because you see what grease pencil doing is actually doing a fill based on that view, like a 2D view, which can be kind of cool, but for sanity, when you're doing the material and fill, okay, you want to do it from the top view or something on the plane. You just fill it on the plane. So you got the objects fill it correctly. There's a few things like with grease pencil, maybe creating a new material can be a little bit faster, and then doing this, we are creating shapes basically, and the shapes color. There's an add-on called Sketch and Carve that's doing this automatically. So shapes becoming like a 3D objects, like overlapping shapes can become a 3D objects very quickly, and that's kind of cool. At the moment it's just like a grease pencil objects, but they are also cool because I believe you can convert this into Bezier curve. You can convert it based on the layer, I believe. So convert maybe from the layer like this, you can just convert them into a real object. Yeah, it's merging everything. We convert to mesh and then fill it. I just tap F, but yeah, it's trying to fill everything. But the idea is really you want to close this area and fill. So every shape's becoming something that you can extrude. But yes, the Plasticity and Shaper 3D, if you play around with Shaper, kind of doing this a lot faster and easier. So something that Blender could have, I think. And you can perform all this boolean whenever you like. Boolean cut. I don't know why you want to cut there, but maybe you want to create a path through these areas. Now it's becoming like the 3D therapy that you might need. Sometimes I just wish I could just merge all of this. You cannot always do that. Like say I'm selecting everything. Some of the objects are touching, so but you cannot just merge all of this. Some of them will refuse. Oh, that one. Yeah, that one works. Once they are merged together, you can just make a cut. Trying to make a cut there. There. Yeah, that kind of operations that's becoming like a second nature I think if you use it a lot. This definitely all to make that cut. Push it in. This floor, push in. So you have this area now to go through. So yeah, that's basically from basic 2D shapes. If they are flat on any face, you can basically create a new face. So it cuts on everything, which is really powerful. There you go, see? And the excess area also can be extended sometimes. So I just make these shapes, which is like a weird shapes over there. Let me try to select that object. Okay. scale and grab G. I could just perform like a boolean because it's all like solid objects. Yeah, maybe if I select all of these and then just boolean, what's gonna happen is, yeah, sometimes it's refusing because it's probably a little bit too complicated. In Blender, it will try to actually perform the boolean even though it's really complex. So something that Blender still win in that area if you are doing a complex boolean like that. Okay, let's say if we like this, all of this, file, save as, save this first, file, save as. If you send it to Blender, skate park. We can give it trees, quads, or n-gons. Let's try n-gon today. Send it to Blender. File, new, file, import, obj, desktop, skate park, rotate 90 degrees. Oops. Select all with a rx90 minus skate park. Come out in Blender. Can try to maybe walk around this space that we just created. So in Blender, you can, the nice thing about Blender, this is all polygon, Command J, merge everything, right? It's a single object. You can try to perform, it's a really complicated object. You can try remeshing it. Displays, okay, displays, maybe displays might be a good idea. They are now kind of expanding. And then after you do that, you do remesh if you want to. I mean, it's creating an interesting shapes. Save file, save as. It's a really complicated shape, but it's become like a volume, right? So yeah, now it's super high density mesh. But you can always remesh it somehow, you know. Go to sculpt mode. And what I like to do always, cloth filter, inflate. And expand. So it's a balloony kind of architecture. Yeah, I don't know why I do that, but I just find it interesting. Inflate, I mean, if this is like a sculpt mode, you can remesh. Yeah, so it's, and then after you do that, do a sculpting. Oops, this is a still cloth. Cloth simulations, it's cool. And you get surprise like that on the top. Yeah, you end up with crazy shape. Anyhow, draw and sculpt as you please. So it's totally weird now, but yeah. So that's pretty much Plasticity explorations. Maybe there are more yeah, that I haven't touched. Maybe the lofting and also sweep that I haven't used much, because it's more like nerves. You can see with plasticity, these objects, parasolid objects, is all parametric. It's very cool that you can push and pull like this. They are not exactly polygon, totally different, unless you bring it inside Blender and it's become polygon, and then you can perform like polygon extrusion, etc., adding details as you wish. But inside plasticity is all still like a parasolid object. It's very strange. It's like a parametric objects. It's a solid objects that you can push and pull. It's pretty cool that way. But also keep in mind that they're not polygon until you bring it inside Blender and it's become polygon. And if you turn it into volume and mesh, I mean, you can, now it's proper polygon object. Okay, so that's the difference basically. Like it or not, I think they both are really pretty great tools. Hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.